Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. I'm sitting in the sanctuary. I've got my Make Space for Others shirt on. Thank you, Dustin, for making that for us. And I want to give a shout out to thisent.com and the coach, Joe Walker. Thanks for promoting the shows and staying engaged with us. This is exciting what we're going to do in about 11 days. So today is episode number 356. We're stopping on September 11th. So super excited to be in the stretch with 10 shows or so left to go. And I also want to give a shout out to Mark Voldek and what he's doing with the Fledge's art collection and the NFTs that we're making. So if you don't know what NFTs are, hit us up with a question. We're going to put a workshop together to start introducing them more to the masses, but they're a crypto thing that stands for non-fungible tokens. And look it up, or come to our workshop, or even check out our collection, which we'll be releasing in about 2 hours from now. So shout out to Mark. Now to my guest, somebody I'm really excited to have, and he doesn't think I am, but man, you're one of when we moved into Lansing 3.5 years ago, you're one of the first people that really engaged with us with the Capital City Film Festival and all that. Well, we were only 2 weeks in Lansing when you guys did the film festival there, and I just I adored you guys. I mean, I will never forget those days. The after party, it was fun. So you're down. It looks like you're in the media center or something right now.
I am in the Lansing Public Media Center right now. Yes, I was recording a voiceover. Yeah, so one of the many things I do as a filmmaker, you got to tap into every talent you have so you can keep those paychecks coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I with a nice voice. If I looked as good as I sound, man, I'd be unstoppable.
Oh, you were doing the voiceover.
Oh yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, you can hear it, right? This really nice voice.
I can hear it.
It's a blast. I get to play for a living pretty much, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You want to give any shout outs before we get into you a little bit?
Really, just to kind of embarrass her. The only reason I'm on this show is because of Dawn from Ellie's Place, who kept bugging me about it. I have no business being on your show, man. I'm just a filmmaker guy, man. I don't do a whole lot, but I would say this journey, which we'll get into later, of how I got into all this, the filmmaking, like filming the Fledge and places like the dealing with the Artist Umbrella and the Financial Empowerment Center. I've got to know all these wonderful people in these beautiful organizations who do things that I didn't know existed. So the shout out really is for people like you, like the Fledge, people like my buddy Amber at the Financial Empowerment Center. She's doing great work over there. Dawn at Ellie's Place, Brandon at the Artist Umbrella. You people inspire me. You all me, because you're out there doing for people, and you don't get a whole lot back. You're just doing it because you love to make the place you live better. And I'm fortunate enough, I get to aim a camera at you sometimes and just say, hey, this is what they're doing. Almost like a conduit to say, hey, these people are cool. Everyone watch this video I made so you can see what these cool people are doing. Because before I got into this media game, I didn't know that you people existed. I just thought everybody was cynical, and I didn't know there were all these wonderful people doing wonderful things in Lansing. To say Metro Malik, we had a conversation once, same thing. He's like, until he got into this media stuff, he didn't know that all these people were, we're always astonished, to meet all these wonderful people behind the scenes doing great things. So
yeah, you did
bring me on your show. I'm going to talk about you.
There you go. I don't like it, and I'm going to try to switch it, but I'm going to tap into something there. So when we had our open house, you brought a drone, or you guys brought drones, and you did that's a kick-ass video right there.
Yeah, it was great.
That was spectacular.
I learned about you because it was a while earlier. I was at where Leap was giving out the grant, and you had won a grant for the Fledge. I think that you won it for the Fledge, right?
Yeah.
that's when I first saw you, because I was there filming that, and I interviewed you. I was like, "What is the pledge?" And then people started telling me about it. I was like, "Oh, this is cool," you know. And so then I actually fought for that assignment when you guys had your grand opening in Lansing. I wanted to be the one to come there and film that. When I got there was so many of my friends that were there helping you out, and I was like, "This is great." I love the pledge, man. It's just great in there.
Well, thank you very much. And, you know, the city of Lansing just reposted or re-released the conversation between me and the community officer. I know you were doing other people too, but I really love Ken Schaefer, and he, you know, we have our ups and downs with the police force and, you know, some things like that. But that interview right there was very special to me because of what he said, what I said, and the way you put that all together. Because he really does give us, he's enabled us, he's empowered us to kind of do our own thing when it comes to policing the pledge. And you really captured that. And it's a great video. I love that video.
And I like and I know there's static I've had static with the police before. I mean, growing up black, you just do. Mm-hmm. But getting people like Officer Schaefer and the other ones I've gotten to work with, and then talking to the people they interact with, like you, showing that there are people trying to make a difference. That's a unique thing that I'm able to do, to go film stuff, film people. And I love how in your interview, you didn't pull the punch. You were like, yeah, we don't always see eye to eye, but we try to work toward a resolution. We need so much of that right now. And yeah, thank you for that. That was a good video. I like that video. And you did a great job.
Well, I tripped up the steps coming in, but that's because I'm a goofy
you were
bastard.
In a hurry to do this show. That's what, and I was rushing you to get an interview, so I'm sorry. But I had to have Jerry on there, man. I was doing the pledge. I had to have you.
Not at all. So real quick, Rena said, and I think this is going to be a theme of the show, doing what you love makes the world a beautiful place. So I agree with that. She gives a shout out to Brandon too, who messaged me out of the blue a couple days ago. So I'm glad to connect.
Yeah, I don't know
Brandon
him that well, but I met him through this media stuff, and I just am amazed by what they do. You know, all the good work they do. Every day I meet new people that I think are just amazing.
That's how I feel too. It's I don't know. We're in a good city. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So let's jump into you a little bit. Where were you born and raised? Where'd you go to school? All this stuff, man. People love this.
It's like I already know this stuff, so it seems boring to me. I was born in California, but I'm a Lansing guy. You know, I Wood Creek Elementary, Dwight Rich Middle School. Hannah Middle School in East Lansing, which doesn't even exist anymore. That's how old I am. And then Sexton, Big Red, you know, represent Big Red, J-Dubs. I know that you're a Quaker, but everybody can't be perfect, so that's all right.
No, I
feel bad for you, but yes, J-Dubs, man.
I got ties to all the schools because I went to Everett my sophomore year. I transferred to Eastern to wrestle. But when I was growing up, the Capital City Wrestling Club was in the Sexton wrestling room. So I
remember.
I don't know. Who do you know?
Right? In the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Becker, Chris Henderson, all these guys that are still around.
So you were a Viking and a Quaker.
And probably, you know, a junior Big Red too at their some level, knowing all those guys.
You're cool again. It's all right, man.
How'd that go from not cool to cool again in like 27 seconds?
Everybody's cool. Another person that I actually like that I've met through this job is Sarah Anthony, the representative. And she was just the other day putting out a video. She was up at Everett talking because she's a Viking. And I love that. I love seeing the people, you know, we don't forget some about Lansing in our high school. If you went to that high school, you love that high school. Even if it goes through, you know, tough times, you still like, you know, those are my people, you know.
I'll get in a fight over Vivian Riddle if someone wants to talk smack about it. I love that school. I actually loved all my elementary schools.
Oh, Riddle. I forgot about Riddle. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Kendall.
I think my elementary school isn't an elementary school anymore too. I mean, it's, you know, you get old, they fall apart. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think all my schools have survived it so far, but yeah, we'll see.
Right.
So what'd you do after high school?
After high school, briefly attended LCC, but I just wasn't, you know, I wanted to work. I wanted to make money, so I went into the private sector, worked mainly in the medical field for some reason. I had no business being in the medical field, but there were jobs, so I made money over course of like 20 years. Got married, had kids, beautiful children who I love dearly, but I was living a life that I shouldn't have been living. I was working in a hospital and medical labs, and I was making decent money, but it was nothing you could, really sustain yourself with. But it was soul sucking, and I, always kind of deep down knew I was an artist, but I didn't think I could do it for some reason.
I love the way you described it earlier, and I'm going to ask you to kind of do it again.
I remember what I said.
Well, you had a dream when you were a kid. You knew what you wanted to be, but a dream was just a dream or something like that. And
I'd be in as a little kid, I just dreamed about, I saw everything cinematically. I also play a bunch of music instruments and compose music. And my father used to take me to the movies every weekend. So I saw every movie that came up. We would just go see movies when I was growing up. And there was something about it. I just loved it. I saw everything in terms of, but in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that's only something special people can do. I have to go to school. I have to, I have to learn how to get a boring office job somewhere. For some reason, that was just in my head. And I don't want to blame it on my parents because they were great. I don't know who to blame it on, but there was just an element. Oh my gosh, I know what it was. I just thought about it. I came up in the 70s and 80s. There wasn't a whole lot of mixed race people here then. It's always been a mixed community of people, but race mixing, baby making wasn't really what it is now. So it's like everywhere I went, I kind of didn't belong, when I was growing up. And I think maybe that was just, that made me think like, okay, I need to just stay in a lane and keep everybody happy because white folks didn't like me. Some black folks didn't like me. It was just like wherever I went, I was proof that the nation was changing, that the civil rights movement had worked, and that everywhere I went, I was like a walking litmus test. People would see me and they'd be like, they would just be like, what is this thing in front of me? So I was very introverted. I was very quiet. I was very to myself. So I think I created a cinematic thing in my head to feel like I was special, to feel like there was something that I could do that other people couldn't do, that made me unique. Because on the outside, I was just an oddity. There were only like 20 of us in town back then. Now you can't throw a stick without hitting a mixed kid, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
My people have risen. But coming up, it was weird. But on the flip side of that, the connections I made with people who were able to see past the fact that I was this weird biracial experiment, those people are still my friends. You keep those bounds because those bonds, you keep them because those people always, if they could look past it back then, think of how great friends they are to me now that it's not a big deal to be mixed, so it's cool. But I think that was probably, I just wanted to fit in somewhere. And being an artist means a lot of times you don't fit in. When you have an artistic creative thing in you, you don't fit in. And you're not supposed to. And that's the thing that no one really was able to teach me until I got older. I was like, I don't have to fit in. You create what you create, and then you kind of create your own space in the world based on what you're creating. And then people start to like you, not based on how you look, how you dress, how you act, but they like you because of what you create. And then you like them because of what they create, and things get really cool. And I didn't figure that out until I was, well in my 40s. So it's.
I'm super curious. When did you graduate from high school? If you don't mind me aging you.
I know. Ageism in my business, man. But 88. I graduated in 88.
All right.
Yes, so I'm a lot older than I look. Black don't crack. But it's cool.
I'm about 4 years older than you. I graduated in 84 at Eastern.
Yep.
So yeah, some of my friends, the Hendersons,
Yeah.
Chenards, Gino probably.
Yeah. Oh, Gino. Yeah. I went to school with him. I remember him. Sort
Yeah,
of. I wasn't his friend, but I remember him because he
yeah.
was Gino, you know.
He
But
better have been nice to you, or I'll still whoop his ass.
he wasn't. Nobody was really mean to me. I was like the kid in the wheelchair. I was just somebody different. They didn't. No one was mean about it. They just didn't always want to talk to me. It was just strange for them.
Yeah,
You know, when you're little, the kids be like, "How come your mom's, white and your dad's black?" Be like, "I don't know." It was that type of thing. They were curious, but it was their parents who would give me attitude. The kids were always fine. The kids
yeah,
never messed with me. Parents, they didn't always like me.
yeah. I got bussed from Kendon to Riddle in '76,
Right.
and it wasn't my parents, because my parents have always taught me the right way to move, and didn't know there was zero tolerance for racism in my
Sweet.
mother's house and in my dad's house.
Nice.
And I mean, I've got a story of when I said the N word the first time because I didn't know what it was. I,
Right. Right.
I got smacked the only time in my life that my
Really?
mother ever smacked me. She
Mm.
smacked me right across the face. And
Right.
it wasn't a
Wow.
public, it was just, I cherish that memory, actually.
Well, good for you. I wouldn't cherish that, man. And got to give
Well,
white folks some leeway. You can make mistakes, and then you can bring it back.
I probably heard that word at school.
Yeah,
And
you
then
hear it
just said
everywhere.
it. I said it like an adjective. Like
Right. Right.
I was coloring Count Chocula, and I used that word to describe it. And I had no idea it was bad.
Oh
And it was
man,
really, I was super young. I was super young, like
it's
six.
yeah, it just gets it gets taught to us, and a lot of times from our friends. I said the word. I still do when I'm with some people, but I know I shouldn't, and I'm trying not to. But with my black friends, it just flies. And sometimes we even check ourselves. Maybe we should stop saying this, especially if we're in public. Don't say it at all in public. Try to make the word go away and whatnot.
My best
But
friend was at Rich and Sexton, Terry Woods. You might know him.
doesn't sound
He's a little bit older than you, though. So you
right.
probably, because when you first started, you must have started around the first time that ninth graders were in the high school, because it was 10th, 11th, and 12th. Maybe you were
Yeah, I
first or
was
second.
ninth grade. I was at Sexton, so yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
know it that I was one of the first. I don't know, but yeah,
yeah.
ninth grade I was at Sexton.
Before
Yeah,
that, there weren't ninth graders went to Gardner or Rich or whatever,
I didn't know that.
Otto. So, anyways,
Right.
um, so you're in your 40s and decide, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a filmmaker now, right?
Right.
Is it
It's
how'd that
it
happen?
sort of. It was more like I'd been laid off from a hospital job, and I was married at the time, had 3 kids, and she was great. She was working as a nurse. She had already gone to school, and but I did like the stay at home dad thing for about a little while where I was working from home, but I just didn't really. I was good at it, but I didn't really like it. So then I said, well, let me go to school to learn how to work cameras and learn how to work audio recording gear, the technical stuff. I knew I already had it, commercial. Because I was thinking that was my midlife crisis, was to go to school. I was like, you know what? This is my life, just being a husband and a dad and not being who I am. I was like, okay, let me go try and see if I'm good at this. So I went to LCC and took intro to videography or something like that, and intro to audio. And I was like a kid in a candy store. It just opened up the world to me. They would give me these projects to work on, and I go take 8, 9 hours down in the editing labs and working with Avid and Pro Tools and learning how to work all this stuff. Because I was like, I can't believe they're letting me work with all this nice gear. And to go back to that defeatism thing, when I was in class the first day, they were telling me about this scholarship that they give out every year. And right away, oh, that'd be great, but I would never win the scholarship. Well, I did win the scholarship. Like the first semester I was there, won the scholarship. I was like, are you serious? You're going to give it to me? And they were like, yes, we're giving you the scholarship. You're awesome. You belong here. And I was like, whoa. And I started to meet other like-minded people, because any type of curriculum, any type of class, you get a bunch of people to kind of goof off, but then there's like 5 or 6 of us that rise to the top and really are serious about it. And I still work with those people today. Excuse me.
Bless you.
And my mind started opening. I started becoming a nicer person because I was kind of miserable to be around. I didn't like who I was, and I didn't realize it. And then I started getting better. And unfortunately, marriage ended. She had to go. She had good reasons. She had to go. And I was like, what? Bye. There's not much you can do about it. But if she was going to leave, that was the best time to go because my life was changing. And because I was working so hard in class, LCC really doesn't hire a lot of full-time professors. They hire people to come and teach that are actually working in the field. Yeah. And these people saw me going above and beyond, and they were like, Craig, here, call this guy, get some work here. I'm like, I'm still a student. They were like, it doesn't matter. We see the, promise in you. So I ended up working for like Fox Sports and Big Ten Network over the years, and WKAR, doing a lot of stuff with them and I'm still on call with them. If they call me and they need me, I'm there because I love them. And I got to do all this stuff before I graduated even. So it was like this really cool moment in my life. It should have been the worst time because I was going through a divorce and I did love that woman, but we needed to be apart. That's just the way it is. But it really was kind of the best time because I was and my kids were proud of me, but it's good I had them because no one will remind you no one will humble you like your children were, will, because I'd be like, oh, I'm watching this Backstage Pass episode that I shot with WKR, and I'm watching it. This is so cool. Kids like, yeah, Dad, we've seen your work on TV before. We're hungry. What's for dinner, Mr. Provider? It's that type. They got my dry wit. They come at me, and they have kept me very humble, over the years, because I was winning awards and scholarships, but I was also a single dad working 3 part-time jobs and going to school and trying to make things work. And it all worked out because I loved what I was doing. For the first time in my life, I knew that I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was becoming an artist, taking that that creative spirit that was in here, and then learning how to work the technical side of it to bring it to fruition, and that was, man, I'll always treasure my time at LCC because they also hired me to make videos for the college while I was still there. So I just made so many connections, so many contacts, so many, and like I told you, like I said earlier, I eventually got to meet people like you, and people that do what you do, just because I was making videos and on the artist side, I've got to meet so many musicians over the years that I just have fallen in love with, and I work on music videos for them. It just, the more you do what you're supposed to be doing, the more good things happen. And unfortunately, you start doing the good things in your life, you will lose things. You will lose people. There will be people that aren't used to you being what you are, and they kind of go away. They're not evil. They're not haters. They just can't deal with who you are becoming. So they take off, and that's totally fine, and that's because they still love you, but they're like, nah, this isn't the Craig I'm used to. Go, be happy, that type of thing. But you gain so much more, you gain so much more. And it's, dude, I'm the happiest I've ever been, happy. I work 7 days a week, always working, still got my 3 part-time jobs, still work freelance, and I'm still a dad. And I'm about as happy as I know how to be. I never knew I could be this happy. So it's been a great ride.
See,
sorry, I don't talk about this very often.
Well, let me tell you something. We have a theory here at the Fledge. Our hypothesis is that people, they know what their passion is, and they might not be able to pinpoint a career that's that passion, but they know if they're an artist, they know if they're a scientist. They, from a very young age, you're kind of born with these passions of what you want to do, but you get knocked off tilt throughout your life, whatever that reason might be. Like you being mixed was that was an epiphany to me. It might have been an epiphany to you too.
It was always kind of there, but I put it together right now. Yeah, I've always been introverted because of that, because I wasn't accepted, so I am now though. World's great now.
it was so rare. Like I think the Jeffersons, right? They had the
Yeah,
mixed couple, and that was a big deal. It was a big deal to
right.
have it on TV. It was a big deal to talk about it and make jokes about it. But
But I don't mean to interrupt you, but you know what? Even then, the Jeffersons, as cool as it was, I love that show. Notice when they had them, this couple, this mixed couple that had two kids, one was white and one was black. They didn't put somebody that looked like me up there.
yep.
I never saw myself represented until like Flashdance, you know, Jennifer Beals,
Oh yeah.
and then Prince with Purple Rain a year later. That's when I first saw, oh, hey, look, I can actually exist. I didn't know about Dorothy Dandridge because she was before my time. I learned about her later, but it was like, dude, even then, even when they were trying to make, hey, put it out there, hey, look, in the Jeffersons, here's a mixed race couple, and they can be funny and they can love each other. They still were not going to show somebody who looked like me, and that messed with me when I was a kid. Man. It did.
I, First of all, you better have heard of Prince before Purple Rain.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. But
All
he
right,
just was.
that threw me
He
off
made
for
it
a second.
acceptable. He made it acceptable to the masses to look like you weren't one race. No,
Yeah.
I was no, dude. Dirty Mind, Prince, you know, controversy, dude. I was, yeah. That was our guy. Mixed people, we loved him. Him and his side group at the time, we loved them because they looked like us and they were our people and we knew it. And we just, dude. I learned to play instruments, a bunch of instruments, taught myself just listening to Prince records and just playing along in my bedroom with the guitar and the piano and the drums and whatever. It just, you know, that was awesome.
I'm telling Alexa to play some time as soon as this interview is over.
I
I want
still,
to hear
you
Jungle
know,
Love or something.
the first time album, it's 40 years old this year. So I've been rocking it. I've been bumping it. It's just as
Yeah.
good. The old guys talking, come on, man. And,
Yeah. Gigolos do get lonely though. Right?
yes.
I know. We'll get off on this
You're
tangent.
impressing me. You that's the album cut, man. You're impressing me. I respect, man. Respect.
Oh, I was into. Oh man, I don't even want to get started.
Okay, we'll leave Prince alone. Rest in peace.
But back to that theory, you have this gap, and some people, they pour substances over that. They pour depression and sometimes even violence and abuse, or they get abused, or they're victims of violence.
Yeah, I used to be a hothead. I used to be a real hothead. 0 to 100, I'd be yelling. I wasn't physically violent, but verbally, I was violent. Yeah. I was just like a 0 to 100 in a heartbeat.
And often, though, you said midlife crisis earlier. Often it is the cause to that midlife crisis. You've spent your whole life being somebody else's somebody. Yeah, and true, I don't know, that story is, you're actually the first person that has really aligned with what I'm thinking there and what I think about that. But you also threw me for a loop because I often accredit the father. Like my dad would be saying, you ain't going to be no freaking artist, man. You're going to wrestle. You're going to study computer science. You're going to be a man's man, all this thing. And back then, artists was not what you were supposed to grow up to be. You weren't. True. You were supposed to grow up to be whatever the corporations in this world needed, probably in Lansing, to be a state worker or work for MSU or something like that.
The only thing, because my dad's great. He's a good dude. The only thing he ever really did, and he didn't know any better, so I don't blame him for it. He was all about college prep, go to college, because he kind of dropped out of college because I was on the way. So he joined the military, and, he kind of, back then you had to do that. Now you can have a baby come in and finish school. It's no big deal, but it was different in the 60s. But he would always want me to do that. And there was, you remember at Hill, Harry Hill, they used to have like radio TV production that you could take there in high school. I so desperately wanted to do that, but I was afraid to tell him that because he was always like, college prep, got to go to the right college, got to do this. And I kind of let him down on that because my grades weren't that great because I didn't want to be doing it. I passed, but I really, in retrospect, if I had been honest with him and told him, no, Dad, I want to go learn TV radio production, he probably would have been fine, but it's like you get that mode in your head, like, no, that's for dreamers. That's for people that are special. you know. I know
Mhm.
before we were talking about my son, my youngest son, who's learning to play a bunch of instruments, and he's starred in some of my short films I've made. We won money. You know, he's a decent little guy. He's very creative. He's not little anymore. He's tall as me now. But I was telling you that he has something that I never had. He has me. So for him, making music, acting, writing a movie script and filming it, it's not some mystical, magical thing that only magical people can do. He's like, no, it's a craft. You just work at it and you get it done. You know, so he started playing all my instruments, and we were buying more instruments and playing. He goes out and shoots, and he helps me, and he's started making beats, and
Yeah.
he made this song called Practice, and I filmed him doing it, and it kind of blew up. You know, it blew up a little bit, and he's getting a lot of positive attention. I love when I was starring him in my short films. He was like, "Oh yeah, Craig's son is so talented. Craig's son." It's not that anymore. Now it's Devin is so talented. Now he's built his own thing, and I love that. And I'm like, go, you know, do you, and
Well,
I love that I could be that for him, because I didn't have that. There were no artists in my family. It was just, my sister, she was very artistic. My little brother, he is too. But as far as the people mentoring us, nobody was around to know how to shape us, and so we just kind of floundered with it. And it's nice that my kids don't have to do that. They know that they want to go do something creative, they can do it. You just go do it. And I wish I knew that when I was young, but I didn't.
yeah.
you know.
And I got to make sure I tell my son this, because I'm super proud of my son. He dropped out of high school, but he gets paid more than most of the people in our family right now. He just bought a
Right,
new house. And he always said, I got this. Don't worry about it. The
right.
16-year-old kid telling me, I got this. I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, no, you
He
don't.
probably
No,
got
you
that
don't.
from you. He probably
Yeah.
got that from you because you're such an entrepreneurial type spirited guy. He probably saw his dad doing this. He's like, you know what? I don't need this traditional route. I can go ahead and do something and be cool. And obviously he did.
I hope so. You're making me feel really good during the show. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but I'm feeling real good about
It's what I
this.
do, man. It's what I do. I gotta keep my subjects, happy and at ease. But
So
yeah, it's cool.
let's talk about some of the projects you're working on now. Like, are you just a freelancer? You work for yourself? Great.
Uh, like I said, I work for Lansing Public Media Center, which
Yeah.
is kind of like the city. You make videos for the city. I work for LCC one day a week doing stuff for them. I work every Sunday. I work at a church doing their audio visual stuff. Um, and then I work freelance. Whoever hires me to go run a camera with, a lot of the production companies in town will hire me, and I get because I'm one of those guys. I've learned how to do so many different things. Like I can grip, I can gaff, I can shoot, I can edit, I can voice over, I can do something that I get called by different companies to do different things. So I'm always working, but I also like to do the creative stuff. Uh, I've made 3 short films. All of them won me some money, so it's cool. Right now, I tell you what, though, this is something I can't say too much about it because it is kind of a secret project for her, but there's a friend of mine. You actually probably know her. It's Lexi Rosado. You ever
Mm-hmm.
met her before?
Mm-hmm.
She's doing this passion project of hers, and she asked me to be the cinematographer for it. It is some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever shot, and it's one of those things where I've been practicing my craft long enough to where I was looking at the footage, and it's like a tuning fork went off. I'm like, I know what I'm doing now. The creativity would kind of get me by. Whenever I look at my stuff, because artists, we always hate what we do, and I see everything that's wrong with it. This was the first time and I was in a lake, trying to film her and trying to do stuff, and everything I shot was exactly the way I wanted it to be because I knew how to work all the tools I had. And it was one of those things where I've done it enough. I knew what to do. And then we shot underwater, same thing. I got, a special camera rig and we did some stuff, and we got to do a few more segments for the thing. And I'm so proud of it. And it was such a humbling moment because I went and looked at the footage later, and I was like, and I'm going to get a little technical, but not try to get too nerd. With cinematography, the basics are like shutter speed, iris, and ISO settings on the modern digital cameras. And then ND filters because I was outside, and then false color for my monitor. That's as technical as I'm going to get. That stuff I always had to think about. That was this project with Lexi was the first time I didn't have to think about it. I just did it. Like I'm a cinematographer because every shot I got, I wanted it to look. It looked the way I wanted it to look. That's never happened before. And yes, I've won awards. I've been sought after as a camera guy. But dude, it was like, no, I'm legit now because all artists feel like frauds. We all do. We're a fraud. Even if we create something that people love, we're still a fraud. My youngest son did tell me once, he said, Dad, it doesn't matter if you hate what you do. If everybody else likes it, just shut up and keep doing it. And he was right, But this was the first time working with her on her passion project that I actually felt like after 5 years of doing this, I know what I'm doing. I can do this, this is cool, So shout out to Lexi, it's a thank you for bringing me on this project because I didn't know that was going to happen. But, we've always worked well together. So. And it is, you work with one person, another, one of my buddies, I keep dropping names. I know, I'm sorry. Her name's Rachel. I work with her all the time. She went through the LCC program with me. She told me something I will never forget. And she was only like 22 at the time, which blew my mind. She said, Craig, if you do the right things, the right people will notice you. And she was so right. The more right I did, the more I had people like Lexi say, oh, you know what you're doing. Come work with me. At LCC at the time, there was a guy who crewed for live sporting events, to film football, baseball, basketball, whatever. He still calls me. He's like, hey, man. And, I'm not great at that, but I'm good enough that they'll still keep calling me. I just did a long football thing for Bally Sports in Detroit last week, and it was fun. But, I wasn't as good as I wanted to be that day. But you keep trying. And I haven't really failed at anything since I went to school. I've had some missteps, but it's because I just keep going. You just keep doing it. I haven't had any major failures. I know I'm going to tank sooner or later, but you just keep going, and everything kind of goes into place. And the filmmaking community in this area, we're all so supportive of each other, man. It's so cool. No matter what level you're at, you're like, oh, that's cool that you did that. Like I said, there are people like Rachel who I went to LCC with. Some of those people I still work with, and then there's others I went there with. I don't work with them ever. I'm gonna name drop some more, like this cat named Victor and this cat named Carlos. But I see their work online. They see my work online. Where I was like, hey, good job. Always trying to support you. Do you need anything? Is everything cool? It's just. This is where can you tell? This is where I belong. Working with artistic people. And I still love I look at my life as like two lives, the one I lived before and the one I'm living now. The people, my friends and family from the life before, I still love them. I still see them when I can, but my life is mainly this now, and I'm not as social as I'd like to be, but dude, it never feels like work. Working every day. I always love it. I'm sorry. I didn't think I was saying, you're like Barbara Walters, just get me talking and forget it. I don't want to talk no more.
I think this is amazing what you're talking about here. And I wish that we could put this in a jar and give it to every kid in this city right now. Mm-hmm. Because, kids are getting knocked off tilt every day and they don't see, at least we had the option sometimes to see a believable opportunity, right?
Right.
Right. Hill and Everett and Sexton. Well, Hill was still a high school. It closed the year I was supposed to go there, and I had to go to Everett, and then I went on to Eastern. But our high schools were different. They had more options. We had different things, and maybe I don't know, maybe some of that is because of the population of the city went down and the resources. Maybe there's a lot of racism in here. So as the white kids started moving to the suburbs, maybe that changed the dynamic a lot. I'm sure it's all these factors. Money for sure.
It's gutted every year, so.
Yeah, they defund the schools every year. But I think that, your story and what you're talking about is inspiring. And I don't know, you said you weren't going to talk much. You didn't have anything to talk about at the beginning. And I'm like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Because I didn't see that at all. like I said, the first couple weeks we did the Capital City Film Festival at the Fledge. It might have been the first time you and I crossed paths, but I guess that
Kind of
the thing you were filming with the Leap or
with the
whatever.
leap. Yeah. That was the first time we talked though and worked together
Yeah,
though. Was the CFF. Yeah.
yeah, and I I think you're like this famous movie star type of guy. There's these directors and
Oh no.
filmmakers and all of that,
No,
and
I'm
I've
just a guy that
always
everybody knows. Everybody knows me, but I ain't. No, I'm not nothing special. I'm just a workhorse, man. That's all.
well, I think you're super special. And
Thank
when somebody says videography, I think about you, and I think about Paul Smith, just because of the way I like how he thinks about
you. Right,
just the world in general. So,
right.
Dawn, I don't pay her. I only pay her to recruit for me. I don't pay her. I don't pay her anything. Thank you, Dawn, but you're a rock
Ah,
star. Finally doing that interview.
oh, I'm gonna. Okay.
I'm gonna thank you, Dawn. I don't know what Craig's gonna do because
Same thing I always do. I see her once every 2 years. I'll give her a hug, tell her she's awesome, and go on about my way. Pretty much.
so
Because it's her fault I'm on the show because she is so persistent. But those people that work in those charitable type situations, they got to be persistent. They know how to get, what they need and what they want. She got me on the show. I'm glad. This is I don't talk about this stuff, man. This is cool. So this is cool. I've had a good time.
I'm honored you're talking to me about it. What
Right.
what do you do every damn day to push this mission forward?
I just love it. I don't really need to push it, man. You know what? Because I lived half my life, more than half my life, doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing. And that my best days back then don't even compare to my worst days now. It's like I'm not one of those guys that, oh, I gotta go to work. No, I like going to work. Oh, I need a vacation. I don't really. Like physically, mentally, yeah, sometimes I do need to tell myself, okay, slow down. Because physically I'll be getting kind of loopy because I don't tell myself to stop working because it doesn't feel like work. I love doing what I do. I don't really need a lot of motivation to do this stuff because it's like I know I work really hard, but it feels like play to me, so, and I've developed a skill, it's like a skill that is sought after and that feels good. I feel some value, like those police videos where I've made a couple of them, like the one I made that you were in. And I got those down now. I know how to turn those out. I go film it, edit it, boom, it's out, and not everybody knows how to do that. So you create spaces for yourself where the police will ask for me sometimes. They're like, hey, can you send Craig to come do this? And it's not that my other coworkers here don't do a great job. They just like what I do specifically,
You know
And,
what?
and
Sorry, I'm gonna
no, go
comment
ahead.
again on that community officer video again. If I was like the media person for the police, I don't know if I want Ken and I going back at each other like that, right? But I mean
Right.
that was such a strong bond between him and I,
Mm-hmm.
and the respect that we had for each other, whether or not I was all well, I wasn't all yeah, I'm glad get more cops at the Fledge. It was not that. It was the opposite of
No, it
that.
was not. No,
But it was
but
a
they know
sincere.
that. The police know that. They
Yeah,
want to show that even though you're sometimes at odds with each other, you're still working toward a common goal, which
yeah.
is problem resolution ultimately. And they're trying. They want to promote that. They want, because they're starting to work with social workers and they're trying to not take people to jail as much and trying to bring the social worker in instead. A lot of them have been telling me about that too when I work with them. So it's a process, and you are a part of that process, being a community leader. So of course they're going to want you to be on camera saying what you said, because it shows that there's people on both sides trying to fix this horrible problem that we have had in this country, that we still have, that we need to take care of. And for me, I don't feel like I'm really on either side of it. I'm the guy with the camera trying to keep it honest, always try to have my work be honest. And that's what's cool about it, that I get to actually film people having discourse and doing what they need to do. And I just want to make sure I'm never fake or phony in the edit that I deliver, And it's cool to be that conduit. I'm not as cool as you and as cool as Schaefer, but I get to make you look cool and get more work out of it in the process. So, I enjoy it. It's fun.
I've never been in a room where I felt that you were in where I felt like I was the coolest person in the room.
See,
whatever. I disagree with you. I disagree flat out. I'm coming at you sideways now.
All right.
I've never done that on the show. No, I'm not going to come at you sideways.
Whatever.
That's fine. Your answer to every damn day. Nobody's ever said to me, I don't have to push.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Even when I'm tired and I just am brain dead, I want to get out there. I want to do it. I work for the VFW National Home for Children. I'm like their video guy now because I made a few videos for them and they love me. They call me out there and it's always tough work, but I love what they do so much and I love to put their message out because a lot of people, I didn't know what they were. A lot of people don't know what they are. They help veteran families because, the government doesn't help veterans families. Citizens have to. And that's the most rewarding thing about what I do is that I get to go out there. I get paid. I don't charge them as much as I normally would charge people because I believe in what they're doing. They're like a charity. But I film stuff for them, package it in a way that they're okay with, put it out to the world. Thousands of people watch it and bring awareness to what they're doing. Just as a way that Fledge video I made brings awareness to you. The work I've done for Financial Empowerment Center, I've filmed some stuff for them just to get the word out of how to get into Lansing Saves and help save for, the children of Lansing to help them with a savings account so they can go to college. I'm a direct part of that. And I'm not the one on the front lines doing the work like y'all, but I know I have a role as media to get your message out there. And I'm honored that I get to do that. Do I make as much money here in the Lansing market as I would somewhere else? No, but I had kids to raise here and I'm happy that I did. And I love that I get to do work for, people that deserve to have their message heard. It's cool. I don't need motivation. What I do is motivation enough because I wasted most of my life doing stuff I wasn't supposed to do. So now that it's still kid in a candy store. How do you stay so young? I stay young because I love what I'm doing every day. It's so much fun. I get so excited by a new lens. A new lens, a new camera. Ooh, look what I can do with this. It's just, dude, I'm in heaven doing this work. Even when life sucks, I don't care. Money's low, I don't care. I'm just having so much fun.
We need to show this video to every kid. Pick it right, do it.
They'd be like, who are these two old guys talking and who is the time? Basically. But that's so cool, man.
We daisy chain these shows together. And yesterday I had Anastasia Trevino with Bella Vita Salon and Spa. And her question for you is, how do you stay authentic when we're surrounded by this social media that can make people narcissistic and vain and not be true, right? You never take the selfie where you got a booger hanging out of your nose, right?
Yeah.
You delete that one.
Right. Yeah. Wow. How do you stay authentic? Because I think I do a pretty good job at that. I look at social media as a way to entertain people more than to express a lot of stuff. Sometimes I express myself, but normally it's still with a little bit of wit or something. You keep yourself honest. One, having children helps because, like I said, they tell you, dude, dad, don't do that. That's stupid. But I think I look at social media the way I was like, okay, yes, I want to appear to be my best, but there's also, it's people tend to respond to you when you're being genuine and honest. And sometimes you'd be like, dang, today sucked. And you get 100 likes. Because you know what? My day sucked too. And when you can be self-effacing, you can get more out of it. And let's face it, I'm not some, poster pinup boy, good looking dude. So I kind of have to show all facets, and to keep myself grounded, I'm usually going to tell you about the good things that are happening in my life. Hey, I worked at Jazz Fest this weekend. This was great. But I also might tell you, hey, I didn't feel 100% today. And hopefully that's to reach out to other people that didn't feel, 100% that day. Because at my heart, at my core, I'm an artist and an entertainer. I like to entertain people. And I can't entertain you if every time I'm talking, it's just, look how great I am. Look how awesome I am. After a while, you're like, all right, next. And I get a lot of work from social media. I put out video stuff on social media and people will say, hey, can you come do that for me? So it's good to keep people engaged. And sometimes there have been times in the past I got a little too personal. I got a little too raw. But ironically, those get the most likes. But I don't want to come off as the curmudgeon dude. But no, it's just, I stay humble on social media because it works. It's actually better to stay humble. You get more of an authentic response from people. If you're putting out phoniness, your responses are phony that you're getting back. If you're putting out the real, even if they don't like what you're saying, they respect you because you're real and you're not insulting. Don't insult people. As long as you do that, social media works.
Yeah, I got to remember.
Did I answer the question?
You answer. I think you gave a perfect answer. I don't know what the answer was supposed to be, but that sounds. Okay. Being authentic, is so important, and I think you're right, because there's like this. Well, there's 0% of the people who, are really that perfect projected image, and we all know that, right?
Yes.
We already all caught on. We did that 10, 15 years ago, maybe not. There's some narcissist. TikTok's super difficult.
I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram, that's it for me. I don't tweet. Craig don't tweet. I don't do the TikTok neither, but someday maybe, but I doubt it.
That should be your handle, Craig don't tweet, when you join.
Yeah, Craig don't tweet. Twitter's where people go to fight, man. I ain't trying to fight with people. No, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Try to stay positive.
So I don't have a guest yet for tomorrow. I've got a ton of leads in Antarctica, and I'm trying to figure that part out. So I can't tell you who the guest is going to be, but there will be a guest. Your show 356. We will definitely have 357.
You had 356 shows?
Days in a row.
Dude.
Mostly because of Dawn. Every single day. Christmas, New Year.
Every damn day. Okay, I get it.
Every damn day.
I've only seen 2 of them, but yeah, that's cool. That's sweet.
So you've seen less than 0.3%.
I'll have to watch these. Just said binge them one weekend. They're available, right? You can just go watch them on YouTube, right?
Yeah, there's a playlist on YouTube, and there'll be a website released in about 11 days with all of the shows on them.
I was kind of scared because the first one I watched was with Dawn and you, and I was crying halfway through it because I know both of you, and I was like, oh my God. And y'all got like deep, man, emotional. And I was like, okay, I love these people and I can't handle this. So I was probably scared to watch the show again, man.
There's been some, I've cried a lot on this show, actually. Right. People have made me cry.
With what Dawn does for a living and talking to you with your history, I was like, dude, I knew I was in trouble. As soon as you guys started talking, I was like, oh. But I'm glad I watched it. It was great TV.
And I'm just one person that Dawn has had an impact on. Imagine all the other people she's had an impact on. But I'm also just one person.
My hero, man. She's my hero.
She is. She's awesome. She might not be watching anymore, so we don't have to keep catering to her.
I don't care. She's the reason I'm on here, bugging me. I'm gonna talk about her.
But we will have a guest tomorrow. What random question would you like me to ask that guest tomorrow?
Random question. This is something that's been asked to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask. How do I got to figure out a way to put it though. Whatever this person does, it's very difficult because everything's so negative with social media and the way the government treats us and the way corporate America treats us. Yes, I'm one of those guys. I'm a lefty, sort of. How do you keep yourself motivated to be positive, to keep going? Because there's so many sources of negativity out there to just tell you you're not worth this, you're not good, everything sucks, you should be cynical, like I used to be. I used to feel that way. What do you do to motivate yourself to stay positive and to contribute something. Hopefully you're having someone who's doing good things in the world. How do you keep yourself going? How do you keep yourself positive? What is your inspiration to keep yourself from falling into that negative rut that, I'm sorry, Facebooks of the world, they all want us to be negative. Those algorithms steer us toward, some garbage. So what do you do to combat that? What do you do to inspire you to keep going every day and to do the work that you do? So I guess hone that into a sentence. Go ahead and try to do that, I guess.
Well, I might just do it without doing that and flip it back on you. How do you keep yourself motivated?
I wasn't part of the.
Well, if I was rephrasing it and put in a little bit of what we talked about before the show started, I think that, in an artist's world, everybody wants, well, just give me that print for free. Come do this, come shoot this. We're a charity. Come shoot this for free.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what you do, we can't escape art. I certainly can't escape art around here. I am covered in it every single day.
Definitely.
But,
Definitely.
From the simplest of things, from the design of our phone, this is artistic, from the design of our transportation, from the design of our city, architecture, from the food that we eat sometimes, the culinary arts, from the clothes that we wear. We cannot, you would have to curl up in a ball naked somewhere and keep your eyes closed for 3 days to escape art and hopefully not be able to hear anything. Not hopefully. Right. I didn't mean it like that. But
no, I know what you mean. Yeah, you can't get away from it.
But people, I don't know why, but they take it for granted. Like it just, maybe it is because of that. Like it should just fall in our laps because it is everywhere. But it's everywhere because that's what our senses need. It's what we wouldn't be able to perceive this world if everything in this room was gray. It would like a gray black background, right? And so how do you keep your value out there, keep pushing at that, even feel, if you've got imposter syndrome or something like that, like a lot of artists and entrepreneurs do, how do you stand up for yourself and say, I'm valuable, this is what this is going to cost, and if you don't like it, get your iPhone out and see if you can do it. I doubt you ever said, well, you probably said that,
but we want to say that though. Oh, that's a good one. It's because at first you are doing a lot of work for free, but you're so happy to be doing it, you don't care, and then you get to where you do want some money, but your level, you got to be honest with yourself, be like, okay, how good am I really? And then also, how good do people think I am? Because how good I think I am and how good people think is always going to be like this. But how good am I? Am I really worth this much money? What am I worth? And some people's egos get in it. Well, I'm worth this, like when they're really not, because they're not that good yet. But you do get to that sweet spot, which I got to probably about a year ago, where I'm like, okay, I can start charging more. And if you can't pay it, that's good. Here, I'll introduce you to this guy. He'll take less. He's not as good as me, but he'll give you a good video, so the people that are coming behind me. So it's like you do get to a point where, and also because I have the security of working 3 part-time jobs, I always have a paycheck coming in. So I don't have to take jobs that where I don't think I'm valued. I don't have to. Most people in my industry that I know, they're either full freelance or full, 9 to 5. I do both. So it's like, but they also have like, girlfriends and stuff to deal with. Whereas I'm just like, just about the work, about the life. So after a while, you do get to where, okay, I need to charge, and I got a number in my head. Okay, I don't say, okay, I'm not going to leave the house for less than $200. So then that's your base. To leave the house, to get me to go anywhere, you got to pay me $200. Some friends, I'll do it for less, or some organizations, but that's up to me. That's not up to them, And then it's like, okay, when I get there, what do I have to do? How much time is this going to take me away from other jobs and other freelance opportunities? I start to factor all that in. And then I charge what I charge. I charge less than the big firms because I'm a one-man band. I'll come shoot and I'll edit, add music beds, sound design, color it. I'm a one-guy operation when I'm not working for other, production houses. So I'll charge less than the production house because I'm one dude. But, you gotta, you just got to look at it like, okay, if I take less than I'm worth, then I'm working for somebody for less than I'm worth. And then another job comes up where they would pay me what I'm worth, but I'm already stuck into this thing. I don't want that to happen. So basically, I have like this area, and it fluctuates daily how much I'm willing to take and not willing to take. But you do have to get to a point where you're realistic about it and say, oh, people, the market will pay me this. And then there's other stuff like the market won't pay me this. You know, you just got to judge the area. And my prices go up every year because my skills go up every year, you know, accordingly. And it's been, so far, it's worked out pretty well. I've been surprised. Sometimes there was times where I didn't want to do something. So they call me up, what do you charge? And I'd tell them a high, crazy price, and they'd say, okay. So then I got to go do it. But I'm excited to go do it because I'm about to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you just got to, you know, that's an incentive sometimes to say, you know, instead of saying no, to say, okay, how much for the day? $500. And okay, that sounds good. Really? Okay, I'll come do it for $500. You know, so it's like, you just have to be honest with yourself, and also I don't want to swear on your show, but don't whore yourself out to the point where you feel like, you know, like you've been used and abused, you know, but all the people just starting out, you're going to work for free at the beginning. It's just going to happen, but enjoy it, you know, work with people, learn who they are, you know, don't do anything dangerous, but you will be working for free sometimes, or working for pittance, and experience is just as valuable as money, you know, so take that money and take the experience too. Because even when I get paid a lot, I'm still learning some. When I get paid little, I'm still learning. Like there are still some people that will, but because I'm loyal and they gave me my first jobs, like some of those sports guys, they call me up, hey, Craig, can you come run camera for this lacrosse tournament? We can only give you 150 for the day. Can you come? I'm like, yes, because they gave me my first steady, you know, freelance paycheck. So I'm like, yeah, I'm down. I'm with you, wherever you need, you know. So it's, yeah, I guess I don't have it honed down. It kind of depends on how I feel that day. Because, but I have that safety of having, you know, 9 to 5 gigs that are, you know, the 3 part-time jobs I have. So,
well, I think this is better than most answers I've ever heard in this space, because either people, you know, they just graduate from college and someone told them they're worth $300 an hour and that's what they're going to charge, and they learn that lesson very quickly, that no work's coming in, because you gotta balance cost, quality, scope, and time. And
exactly. Yeah, you said that better than I could ever say it. That was perfect.
If you want to pay me $10, then which one of these 3 are you giving up? Because they got to balance, right? So do you want less scope? This will be a 2-minute video, and it's not going to be edited, right? Or it's going to be shot with my iPhone, or I'll get it in 3 years when I feel like, when I got some downtime or whatever.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. I tell people that. Yeah.
And I think you're amazing, man. I think you're amazing. Well, you want me to give you some examples? Because I'll start. Because that whole thing about when you were a kid and knowing that you wanted to go in that direction, and what you learned from that, that's a gem for everybody. For your kids to have you, and for you to say that, it almost sounded like you were making a bold statement about yourself, which I don't think you're the kind of guy to do. But you said, my kid is lucky, or the reason it didn't happen to him is because he had me. And I think there's a lesson right there for all of us who can be mentors. Go be that Craig for somebody else. Go give that encouragement and say, it doesn't matter what you want to be, just go be it. Just go do it, and quit listening to everyone else, because we don't have to live with it for the next 60, 70 years after you graduate.
And also be honest with yourself, because you can have a dream and want to do it, but not be very good at it. So you got to be honest. You know, when I first started and they were giving me awards, scholarships, whatever, I said, am I really this good, or does everybody else in here just suck? And they were like, it's a little of both. You know, so you do have to be realistic with yourself. You know, am I really good, or am I just an enthusiastic fan who always dreamed of it? But If you have some talent, it will, and you keep doing it, the talent will surface. It'll come out, man. And that's just not just with artsy stuff, but people, like if you really love math, like, you know, somebody I know, you just keep doing math, keep doing, you know, you're going to end up a badass accountant. You know, it's like whatever you have in you that you're naturally gifted to do, you keep doing it. It's going to keep elevating itself, man. It's going to make you into a better person. You know,
Mathematicians don't turn out to be accountants. People that fail math turn out to be accountants.
my bad, dog. My bad.
Sorry, my
I did
degree is
not
in
know
math.
that. I did not
My
know
degree
that.
is in math, and I just insulted every accountant I've ever met in my life. I'm sorry.
No, there's a place for them. A great accountant is worth their weight in gold for what they do. That's what I'm saying. Is that no matter what it is, you have an acclivity for it. You know, do it, because you're going to get better and better, and the world needs you. You know, they need you to be good at what you do. You know, they need you to like what you do. You know,
All right,
like I like my ex-wife who's a nurse. She's one of the, you know, she's won awards for being a nurse. She's doing what, you know, who do you want in the room if you're dying? You want her or me? No, you want her, because she's a nurse and she's studied hard and she's worked hard for 20 years to become a great nurse. You want somebody to film something for you, you want her or me? No, you want me. You know, so it's like that. Whatever you want to do, if you're good at it, there'll be a place for you in the world, and people will need you because you're good at what you're doing. You know, I hope that's kind of. I hope I'm right about that. You know,
I think
I'm not steering
probably
people wrong.
most of the time it works that way. Sometimes
Right.
it glitches, but yeah.
Right.
So, happiness, sadness, joy, hope, and or love. Which word or words would you like to talk about?
Briefly, and it's only because people really seem to be asking me about this a lot, especially lately. I'm gonna talk about love because after I got divorced, I just stayed single. You know, I just stayed. I'm talking about like romantic love. I stayed single, and someone recently really grilled me about it, because it's not that I haven't had opportunities and women haven't liked me and I haven't sort of crushed on women. Dude, I'm a creative. I have crush on every woman I meet. But I don't, what I told her was this. I decided to make my craft, the art, the love of my life, just for a time period. You know, because I had spent a whole lot of time in relationships I shouldn't have been in with wonderful women. I am not disrespecting these women. I love my ex-girlfriends, all of them, my ex-wife. They're great, wonderful women. They just shouldn't have been with me. But because I wasn't happy with me. But loneliness has always been like, loneliness is like a mistress that just keeps coming around and trying to take you away from what you're supposed to be doing. And I would always give into it. But now the love I feel for the art that I create gives me the same high that the love I felt for the romantic love that I would feel. Because, and I think I'm not sure about this, but some of those feelings you have mentally when it comes to romantic love and artistic love, the arts of a creator, I think it might come from the same place sometimes. I think we create things when you feel like you're in love with someone. That's sort of kind of your creative mind kicking in. And I think it does the same thing. So love, I take where I can get it. You know, I feel love when I create a project that I really am happy with the way that it's turned out. I feel love when I spend time with my children. We just went on a vacation. 2 of my kids are grown. So we went on a vacation together for the first time in forever. And oh my gosh, just seeing the 3 of them together sleeping in a hotel room in the morning, I just felt it reminded me when they were little kids. It was just so much love in me at that point. When I'm out there in the morning, getting ready, setting up a camera, knowing I'm about to do what I love to do, I feel so much love. I think you got to take love where you get it and quit trying to manufacture it, and quit trying to say the only way I can love myself, the only way I can feel love is if someone else loves me romantically, because that's kind of like a way of hating yourself in a way, you know? And I used to be that way, but marriage cured me of all my codependency. I don't need it anymore. Again, love my ex-wife. She's wonderful. Love for me isn't just about getting a girlfriend or kissing somebody, going on a date. It's so much more. Just bought a Gretsch guitar we went to Sweetwater during that vacation, and my son and I were playing guitar, and I plugged it in and I played. I was like, oh, I'm in love. And it was that rush of endorphins. I just loved playing it. And I bought it, couldn't afford it, but I bought it anyway. And my son, he keeps stealing it from me. He keeps playing it too, but it is amazing. And I love it. And that's not to say that I'm against romantic love at all. I'm not. You know, if I ever, you know, when my kids are grown and they're out the house, yeah, whatever. But to think that I don't have love in my life, that would be a lie. I do have love in my life. You know, and I spent most of from the time I was 14 all the way up to the time I was 44, always had women in my life, like romantic, but I didn't have this. I didn't have this artistic drive. I didn't have craft that I'm working on, you know. So I fall in love with the craft every day. I fall in love with creation every day. I fall in love, you know, with my kids. I just never fell out of love with them. I love these kids. You know, my parents, my siblings, you know, they're all just part of this lifelong journey of here. This is the love that stays. It doesn't, you know, and that creative part of me has always been there, but I didn't nurture it. I didn't love it the way I was supposed to. Now I give that creative part of me the love that it's supposed to get, and it nurtures, it grows. It has now become my life, you know. And so I think love, you find love where you create it, where you build it, you know, where you cultivate it. It's like soil, man. If you don't feed it, it dies. So you got to make it grow, and you got to do what's right for yourself. And what I love to have, you know, like some of my other buddies in the industry, all these dates and all these women. Yeah, sure. Great. Whatever. But I get just equally as excited about the new camera I'm getting, or the new lens I'm getting, or, you know, the new instrument, playing the instrument for the first time, playing that guitar. I still was playing it last night, just loving it. You know, it's like, and I share that love with the world through the projects that I create for people like you, you know, and to take that love that I have in me, that I've grown, that I've created and cultivated, and then put it into the police video, or the Fledge video, or the VFW video, or, you know, any of those videos. That's taking the love that's already here and cultivating it. So I think too often people think, well, I need the love of someone else to make me happy. No, make yourself happy. Then you're sharing that love with someone else. You don't need to take that love from them. You're sharing the love you already have in yourself, and hopefully they're sharing their love with you. So you're not making each other happy. You're already happy. You're just sharing your happiness with each other. Yeah, that's good. That's enough.
I always respond, and I always ask questions in this segment. And I don't have a word to say right now.
Hey,
I could only make that worse.
It's because I'm old and I'm wise. I've done it wrong so often. I know what the right stuff is to do, because, you know, I did a lot of wrong, man. A lot of wrong. You know. That was been doing right for the last 7 years of my life, and I'm happy I'm doing right.
That was the best conversation we've had about love since we put love on the list.
Hey, man.
And it wasn't even, that was the best statement. That was awesome.
Ever. Jerry, come on, man.
Dude. All right. So I'm going to start to wrap this up.
Okay, good.
First of all,
made me cry, man.
Thank you so very much for being on the show. I got tears in my eyes when you were talking about love.
Thanks for having me on, man. I didn't want to do this, man. This is great. I had a good time.
Well, in the beginning, you said, I ain't got nothing to talk about. You know, I was like,
I did.
Don't worry about it. I'll ask you questions all along the way.
Yeah.
We'll keep it going. It's going to be great. And, dude, this was badass. You ain't got nothing to talk about. You're the third longest show, maybe the second longest show we've done.
Great. Yeah, it's a win bag. Okay, that's great. Yeah, all right.
Ooh, not that. You know how many gems you just threw out there?
No.
Dude,
and I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I'm not going to try to. I won't try.
My head's big enough as it is, man. I don't want it to, you know, to explode.
Right. So tomorrow, I'm still looking for my guest, everyone, September 2nd, and still trying to get that Antarctica thing, but I'm kind of giving up on that. I'm just going to do whatever happens. Tomorrow's my 55th birthday, by the way. So I get to be a Fibonacci number again. So I'm super happy about that. And yeah, this was great, man. Thank you so much. What would you like to take us out with?
I gotta take you out. Okay.
you want.
Well,
Deuces.
first off, thanks for having me on, man. This was like therapeutic. I don't go to therapy, so I was like, hey, just spill it out. World's a better place with you in it, man. And I guess if I was gonna say anything, I'm just honored to know so many people in this community that I didn't know existed. This journey to becoming the media guy that I am, I got to meet the best people that I've ever met. It inspires me to watch you all just keep doing for people and get very little back, but you just keep going. And that's one of my inspirations to keep going. So thanks for having me on your show, man. I'm inspired by talking to you as always.
If you get to meet them, then we all get to meet them.
Dude, that's perfect. I like that. Yeah, that's sweet. It's true.
Hey, much love to you, man. Much love to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 with someone for sure. And stick with me for just a second, Craig. See y'all later.